Okay, so now we'll be discussing your the three service models that are available to us with your public cloud service, third-party cloud service providers. These are three service models: the infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, and the software as a service. Three service models. Now, let's talk about infrastructure as a service first. Again, I repeat that we are talking primarily about the public cloud service models, only public cloud service models. Now, the first service model is the infrastructure as a service. In simple terms, all of the computing needs that I require, all computing needs, may it be security, storage, servers, software, everything, every requirement that I need is provided to me through a cloud, through the internet connection. So I'm simply accessing those services via some web browser, and that's about it. But every service that I need is provided to me through a cloud service provider. Now imagine that if I want to set up my office, my workplace, and I have, say, a team of 15, 16 people, and I want to start up my software house in a building. Traditionally, I would want to have 15, 16 computers. I may still need that. And I will also need some sort of server setup. I need the related hardware as well. I will have to invest in security, or I have to invest in software tools as well, firewalls, whatnot. Everything I'll have to invest in myself, and these physically exist in my office. Now, this is actually expensive for initial investment. This is actually very expensive, and not all people can afford such services initially, and this may be their biggest hindrance towards setting up their own office. Now, what if it is possible to simply pay for the services you need, and you don't have to you don't have to actually physically purchase those services, and those things are not physically located in your office, but they're on a server somewhere, and they're provided to you through a cloud service provider, and you simply pay for the services that you're using and accessing those services through your web browser. So if you want to store data on it, you can store it. It's providing you storage data. If you want some, say, security, if you want firewall security, that's also being provided. If you need any specific software for your organization, that's also being provided to you. And you are not locally installing it on your computers. You're simply requesting for those, and this cloud service provider is making those arrangements for you. And you're simply paying for the services that you need. Now, this seems like an easier option. First of all, it will not be as expensive of setting everything on your own. Secondly, you may not have the technical skills to set up your own software house or a network or a server. And if you want to set up your own infrastructure, that means that you will have to employ people to manage it as well. So it's not always the cheapest option. You will have to invest in manpower as well. Now you don't have to do that. The cloud service provider is taking care of that on their own, and you're simply paying for your services that you're availing. That's it. So in simple terms, if I want to make avail servers, data storage space, everything, every computing need that I need via the cloud, that service model is known as the infrastructure as a service, and complete infrastructure is provided to you. On the other hand, customers can fully customize their virtualized resources as per their needs. Every customer has the right to choose what they want, and they will be paid. They will have to pay for whatever their service they're willing. So, if for the moment they don't need, say, for example, firewall, or they don't need very, certain storage area, you don't need certain storage requirements, then your service model, your infrastructure as service, purchase model will vary according to that. You'll have to pay only the license fees will vary according to the storage requirements that you're availing at that moment. But if at the moment you don't require that much storage, in the future you will. When you want more storage, you can pay for more storage. But what if you were talking about an actual physical storage device in your software house? That means you will have to buy that storage device right now. Maybe you need it or not, but you will buy a very large storage device, and you may not initially need it, but you will need it some point downwards. But you're investing money right now, and this money could be used somewhere else as well. But in if these services are being provided to you through the cloud, it means that you're only paying for services that you are utilizing right now. And if you want to avail more services, you can pay for them on the go, and your license cost will, of course, reflect that. Infrastructure as a service eliminates the need to build an in-house infrastructure and also allows for scalability as needed. You want more storage? You buy it when needed. Small organizations can make most of this option without having to spend scarce resources on hardware, software, and day-to-day management of infrastructure. So everything that you would have to conventionally have in-house, physically in front of you, now you're simply availing it through your internet connection, through cloud services. And this saves a lot of resources on your end, monetary, time, effort, whatever it's, manpower. You're saving a lot of resources on your end and making sure that data, your requirements are met as well. Now, examples of IaaS are Windows Azure, Amazon Web Services, Cisco, Meta Cloud, Google Compute Engine. These are all infrastructure as a service provider models for organizations that want to make avail all services, infrastructure service, without having to physically invest in, or purchase them on their site. Next is platform as a service. Now, for platform as a service, this service model provides access to software development tools only. Now, software development tools, which, by the way, you don't have to install, you don't have to set up, you don't have to configure it on your computers. You simply access those software development tools through some web browser, whatever, and access them through the internet. Now, if you are availing development tools through your internet model or your internet connectivity through your web browser, that means you're accessing the platform as a service model, and this is specifically, targeted towards application developers who want to make use of different sort of programming languages, different sort of programming environments without having to install anything locally. Platform as a service provider provides frameworks needed to build, test, deploy, manage, and update software products. Platform as a service is extremely helpful for any company that provides software and web-based applications. Many of the tools needed to develop multiple platforms, computer, mobile device, browsers, can be quite expensive. So instead of investing in different tools, you just have to purchase a license via cloud, and that will definitely be cheaper, and make use of those tools that you would have conventionally done on a local computer, installed on a local computer. Now you're simply accessing those tools through your internet connection, and also in a way that helps in also reducing the storage requirements as well, because most of your applications are stored on the cloud, and because of being on cloud, you can access that data from any other device you want. As long as you have login information, you can access any of your devices, any of your program code for any devices, just connecting through it via your web browser. By using platform as a service, customers can access the development tools they need when they need them without having to purchase them outright. So if I need only two tools right now, two software tools right now, I can purchase them. I don't have to purchase a whole software suite. I just have to buy only the two software tools that I need right now, and I will purchase them later on when I need them. Right now, I only purchase what I need right now. Okay. Since the platform is accessible over the internet, remote development teams can all access the same assets to speed up product development. So that means since everything is on the cloud, the, your team, if they're not physically all located in the same office and they're located on different parts of the world, they can also make use of those services, because everything is on the internet, and internet guarantees global connectivity. So as long as you're connected to the internet, you may be available, and you may be capable of accessing these services no matter where you are. The final words, examples of platform as service are AWS, Elastic Beanstalk, Apache Stratos, Google App Engine, and Microsoft Azure. Different types of platform as service environments where you can create applications without having to install anything on your computer and simply logging in through your web browser. Final service This final service model is known as the software as a service, and as the name suggests, that you're accessing software, an application software, fully developed, ready to use, and without having to install it on your computer. So you simply have to have access to your web browser, and through your web browser and an active internet connection, you are simply availing these software resources. Now, this eliminates the need for downloading installations and as allocating storage space in your hard disk for installations, which may be a very big problem for most computers considering how limited storage devices can be. So this eliminates the need for that. If you want a particular software without installing, without downloading any installation package, without modifying your data in any way, simply accessing it through the web browser through some subscription or licensing fees. Now, examples consider include Microsoft 365, Salesforce, Google Apps, Cisco. Now, imagine, just think about Microsoft 365. If I'm accessing Microsoft 365, I'm accessing Microsoft Word, Access, Excel, PowerPoint, all of the Microsoft Office suite applications. But none of these applications have to be installed on my computer. I simply access them through my web browser. Of course, a login will be required on my side, and a licensing fees possibly will also be required. And after that, those things have been taken care of, I am simply accessing these softwares through my web browser without having to store anything locally. And let's just say Microsoft Word, it behaves just like the conventional Microsoft Word. And when I want to download a particular document and say print it in my local environment, I can do that very easily. But no installation locally required. So this, by the way, is the most common, service model that a lot of people use. And Google Apps also does the same thing. You may be familiar with your Google Sheets and Google Docs, stuff like that. Nothing is locally installed. Everything is on the cloud, and you simply access it through your web browser. So these are the three service models that that if it's a public cloud service provider, they will be offering services in one or more of these models. So check it out, see what service models that you are currently availing right now, and see what services of those service models are you availing, and how much are you paying if you are paying for it, and consider the cost of how much you would have paid if it wasn't provided to you via cloud. Of course, it has its limitations. There are some problems with cloud services as well, because again, there's an issue of privacy. All information that you are accessing and storing is thereby on a public network. So technically, you are at the mercy of these cloud service providers for the security of your data, and it's not locally stored. And there's no way of knowing how that data is being stored, and if it's being leaked in any way, you won't know. I mean, there's always this gray area. But other than that, if you think about just the convenience is unmatched. So that's why a lot of people have chosen to ignore the security gray areas, security doubts, and still go for the cloud service providers based on their convenience alone. So that's all for cloud services for now.